Though Darth Riven, founder of the new Sith Order, was assassinated by acolytes, his war against the Republic went on for centuries, with Dark Lords recapturing many of the planets they once ruled, like Ziost and Yavin 4. Rising in opposition to the new Sith were their ancient enemies in the Jedi Order, yet this proved no simple task, as they were faced with both internal division and external scrutiny over events like the Battle of Uba 4 in 1800 BBY, when their victory caused a Sith superweapon to unleash a deadly chemical, utterly devastating the native population. By 1750 BBY, a mysterious dark side spirit known as the Dark Underlord took physical form and emerged as leader of the new Sith, supported by an army of Black Knights under the command of a great Zeltron general. Though no one was certain about the Underlord's origins, some suggested he was summoned from the Chaos Dimension, another plane of existence where Darkside disciples went after death, while others claimed he was the spirit of Zendor Reborn, the ancient Dark Jedi who caused the first great schism in their order thousands of years earlier. Based out of Mal Rev 4, the Dark Underlord dual-wielded Sith swords and fought on the front lines of battle to great effect, until he at last met his match in the Jedi Master Murtaugh, who made it his personal mission to destroy the dark side leader. Forging an alliance with the Mandalorians in 1750 BBY, they invaded the enemy's home base in the Battle of Mal Rev 4, allowing Murtaugh to confront the Underlord while his allies distracted the Black Knights. In the end, the Jedi was victorious and killed the Underlord, yet in doing so fell to the dark side. As the fight continued to go back and forth, the Republic saw a string of important victories at Gaps 9, Corfelion, and King's Galquick in the year 1500 BBY, while the Sith, ever divided and warring against each other, attempted to regain momentum by allying with the Deveronians and Haitians, eventually leading to the critical Battle of Mizra in 1466. Though they lacked a unifying leader, the disparate lords of the Sith joined together to win a great victory against their light side opponents, forcing them into retreat. Yet as they attempted to pull back, the Sith charged forward and killed the powerful Jedi, organizing their movements through battle meditation, thereby leaving light side forces in panic and disarray, resulting in their slaughter. When it was all over, estimates claimed 500,000 warriors were lost in the fighting, with hundreds of Jedi Knights falling to the dark side. As momentum once again shifted towards the Sith, a new Dark Lord emerged, planning to end the centuries-long division and self-sabotage that weakened their order and held them back from conquering the galaxy. Settling on the planet Almus, the Zolosian male became Darth Riven, a name taken from a corrupted Sith text, possibly written by Darth Revan, a legendary Sith Lord who ruled during the Jedi Civil War. A powerful Sith master in his own right, Riven terraformed the planet, built a mighty fortress, and raised an army of battle lords, dark side warriors bound to each other through the Force, making it impossible for them to turn against each other, as any harm they tried to inflict would reverse against them. Devoted to Sith alchemy, Riven experimented on his apprentice Darson, ultimately killing his body while enslaving his spirit, and dooming him to guard the fortress for eternity. Yet while Riven's dark side powers and martial strength grew, he'd also discovered a threat unlike any he'd seen before. Learning that he was drawn to Almus by the Dark Staff, an ancient, sentient Sith relic able to consume vast amounts of Force energy and unleash it to terrible devastation. Though Riven was tempted to use it, he knew the Dark Staff was intelligent and ultimately answered only to itself, and thus was determined to see it destroyed. But in the end, the Dark Staff was victorious, as Riven took it for himself, and as a result destroyed everything he built. Rising up against Darth Riven, the Jedi and Republic gathered their forces and struck his base directly in the Battle of Almus. As the opposing forces engaged each other, the Dark Lord finally succumbed to temptation and took hold of the Dark Staff, at which point it created a mighty Force storm, destroying his Battle Lord army and tearing a hole through time and space. Arriving on the planet Ruusan 3 centuries in the future, Darth Riven found himself in the midst of yet another pivotal battle between the Jedi and Sith, yet thanks to the Dark Staff, he was drained of all Force powers, allowing him to be easily cut down by a passing warrior. Though the Jedi and Republic were free from the threat of Darth Riven, and power was shifting back in their favor, centuries of conflict and internal division left them on the verge of economic, political, and military ruin. Seeing no other choice, the Jedi involved themselves directly, becoming generals and politicians, with members of the Order sitting as Supreme Chancellors for the final 4 centuries of the conflict. Their lack of resources and manpower also meant they could no longer sustain holonet communications beyond the core, and lacked the services necessary to stop the Kandorian plague from ravaging many of their worlds, sometimes killing up to 2/3 of populated areas. Taking advantage of their growing weakness, the Sith Lord Belia Darzu reigned on the deep core world of Tython from 1250 to 1230 BBY, becoming so skilled in force alchemy and sorcery, she grew her slave army by reanimating the bodies of slain opponents, and through the creation of techno-beasts, whereby she converted the organic parts of living Sith spawn into metal and machine. Waging the Sictus War against the Republic and Jedi for 2 decades, she succeeded in leading her forces to victory, but was ultimately assassinated by the Macrosa Order, a dark side cult allied with the Sith who turned against Darzu over territorial disputes. Losing their leader, the Sith once again fell to infighting, leaving both the Republic and Empire in disarray as they entered the last century of the conflict, known to history as the Republic Dark Age. Without a strong leader to unify their factions, independent Sith Lords rampaged across the galaxy, creating their own realms, constantly at war with everyone around them. Distracted by their work keeping the fledgling Republic together, the Jedi lacked the strength to engage in these conflicts, leading some in the Order to strike out on their own, like Master Vanar Treese and his apprentice Cara Holt, who fought individual wars against the Sith. As more Jedi started fighting back on their own, they grew estranged from the Order, and upon liberating worlds and systems, became heroes to the local population who asked them to stay as rulers. Thus began the era of Jedi Lords, who established hereditary dynasties to rule over private realms, keeping them safe from any and all danger. Joining together in an alliance of lords, these rebel Jedi formed a Grand Council, which was seen as a direct rival to the High Council on Coruscant. By 1066 BBY, the new Sith were once again on the rise, when the Dark Lady Vilia Calamandra took power, creating an empire she ruled with ruthless cunning. Giving birth to 7 children, she decided to choose her heir through a charge matrica, a contest to see who could expand their empire the most. Inevitably, this turned into a full-scale war between the children, leaving all dead save for the victor Chagres. Naming her son as heir to the Empire, he formed the Chagres hegemony and went to war with the Republic, though in truth his mother was the power behind the throne. After the death of her son in 1040 BBY, a second charge matrica was arranged, this time between her many grandchildren, resulting in yet another devastating internal struggle, which further weakened their family and led to their downfall. Yet only a few decades later, in 1010 BBY, 1,000 years of conflict at last saw the beginning of the end, when Skier Khan, a former Jedi turned Dark Lord, ended the division that plagued them for centuries by forming the Brotherhood of Darkness, an order of equals who could at last unite in solidarity against their true enemies in the Jedi and Republic. A special thanks to all those who contribute to Civilization X, like Ishmam Ahmed of Shamidiana, The Spectral Knight, Tamika the Black Wolf, and Feanor Nathan. If you'd like to help the channel, please go to patreon.com/civilizationx, where you can get early access to videos, vote on future content, and access the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.